All righty then. How is everybody? Yeah?
I'm sorry, Whitney.
Yeah, where's Whitney? I thought we were missing one. Whitney. There she is. Whitney AG, everybody give her a big round of applause. So lucky for me, I got to meet most of you guys, and if I didn't already know you, this morning, or this afternoon, I guess. My time schedule is all mixed up because I've been in San Diego, back to North Carolina, to Boston, and I'm still trying to catch up. So, but it's my pleasure to be with you guys here today because you are our top producers here, and you are what makes this company go round and round. So I'd really like to start out with you guys just giving a brief introduction of yourself, who you are, if you're an individual agent or you have a team, and then what your production looks like. So whoever wants to start with that. Whitney, that's you.
Okay, great. First, I joined EXP in 2024, brought my team over from Berkshire Hathaway, and actually, as of May 2025, became a mega team and icon for my first year since I've been here. And yeah, so thank you so much.
That's what we like to hear. Production numbers?
Right at 40 million.
Whoop, whoop. Good job.
Thank you.
Lisa Parento. I am from beautiful Cape Cod, and I've actually been at EXP since January of 2020, a pandemic baby. Who knew that the world would change the next month? What can I tell you? My production numbers are probably about 15 this year. I've involved with a whole bunch of things, but also I'm the proud grandma of now 3 granddaughters. So that does take some of my time.
Love it.
Denise Fernandez from Palm Coast. So glad to be here. And only my shy 3 years with EXP, brand new agent, second year became an icon, and production 35 million.
Woo!
Wow.
Good job.
Hey, Mike Wiseman, we've met. So my team is up in Maine. It's the real property team. It's 5 of my kids and 3 or 4 other agents. So I've begun tracking my numbers actually now. Our team will do 20-ish million on a solid year, but I really now track, my board is everybody else's numbers that I'm working with in my revenue share group. I have calls and what are your numbers, what are your goals? So I know that in 2024 we closed about, as my group of agents, about 455 transactions, 145 million. They're tracking about 90 million year to date right now. That's growing like literally by the month. And close to about 170 million in volume is what my revenue share group is. And the goals of my board are the agent's goals, and that's what I'm focusing on.
Awesome.
The Chief Accountability Officer. So what you are? You, Michael, you're the Chief Accountability Officer.
Hello, Scott Bascom here. Bascom Group there. We got about 10 in the room today.
Hello.
I've been with the brokerage since about 2019. I was an individual agent, started a team about 2 years ago. Now we're up to 38 sales producing agents. We did 26 million last year. We're on pace, hoping to do 50 million this year, and we're growing fast.
That's awesome. I love it. Don't give that to me. I don't want 2 of those. Yeah, you've got a fan crowd here. I love it. Well, I really want to jump straight into what a lot of you agents are experiencing right now, and that is, you guys, what they're talking about is the market shift. And so if no one knew, it's not a secret, there is a market shift. So I'd really like for you to kind of talk about how you're navigating with your buyers and sellers what we're experiencing in a market shift right now. Scott, want to start with you?
Sure. So the market shift really, at the end of the day, people need a house. They need somewhere to live, right? And so I have clients that call and, they say, what do you think about this market shift? Should we wait to buy a house because the interest rates are high? And I said, well, do you want to keep renting, right? So at the end of the day, I think you just got to be really knowledgeable and really find out what their goal is. And as you guys know, interest rates are high now, but things may change, and who's to know where they might go, right? So they might go higher. So I really just have that conversation and let them know, listen, if your desire is to build something for your family that you can leave behind, then purchasing is definitely the way to go.
Cool. For us, the conversation really focuses on the clients understanding their future pleasure and their future pain, right? Because people are going to move towards the pleasure and away from the pain. And if someone doesn't need to sell their house, you're probably not going to motivate them to sell their house in this market, this environment necessarily. So I'm training with my agents. We're on every morning, 9 to 9:30. We script role play. We cover these kinds of difficult conversations to really, because, I mean, market shift is there, but honestly, you're still seeing teams like on this stage and other top teams are still hitting record years. So the market shift really only exists if you want it to exist in your world. Okay? It doesn't have to exist. People, like Scott just said, need to have a place to live. I heard Rob say last night, Rob Flick, people tend to like to live inside. Okay? I can't take credit for that joke. It goes to Rob Flick, but it's true now. So our training, our focus is really on conversations that ask really good questions about what happens if you don't get your home sold in the next 90 days, right? Where does that leave you and your family? How important is that goal? Is that goal still important to you, right? And those kind of questions, those kind of conversations, we find will move people through, and they don't have to experience the market shift either. And for those that think rates are still high, when I bought my house, I was ecstatic to get it below 10%, and that's like in the mid-80s. So 6.5, 6.75. I'm still refining out a lot of investment properties, cash out refis. I'm happy to do it at those rates. So rates are in your head too. Take it from someone who managed about $50 million of tax-free bonds. That's what I did before this. Rates are an illusion. People get used to them, and then it's the new normal. So.
Yeah, I also bought my first house. The interest rate was 14%, so 7 is great. And yes, the market shift, but there's a lot of room to negotiate. Since I'm almost a brand new agent, we started and the market was crazy, 80,000, 100 above asking price. Actually, I like this market way better than it was before. There's a lot of incentives for brand new construction. Palm Coast, it's a very small city that a lot of 25 new builders came in town, so there's a lot of incentives, a lot of buy down rates. So I really like this market, to be honest with you.
You like it better? Are you mostly working with buyers or?
I'm not. I have a lot of listings, but my passion, it is work with first-time home buyers.
Okay, yeah. I think the buyers like the negotiation better than the sellers right now.
So true.
So I work primarily in a resort and second home market. I don't know how many of you do, but that is a different animal. And, I'm listening to the others saying, we love to live inside. And that's true. But most of my clients, this is their second home. Perhaps it's their third home. They have a primary somewhere else. They've already done a whole lot of work on that primary. They've been living there for a while. And they want to buy something on Cape Cod that they're going to retire into. That's a very typical kind of client of mine. So they're kind of in their late 40s to late 50s, right? And they don't want a fixer-upper. They want something that's somewhat done. I mean, they'll live with maybe Formica, but they can live there, and they're not going to worry about doing their renovation right away. And that market has really shifted. The resort and second home market, at first, it's funny, when the pandemic hit, everyone said, "Oh my God, you'll be broke, you'll have nothing," and it couldn't have been more the opposite. Everybody went to that area, and people bought properties. What's happened now is that everyone says, "Oh well, I can work from here. Isn't this fabulous? Cape Cod's fantastic. I think I'll just work from here. I was gonna maybe do something else, but I'm not going to now. I'm going to stay in it." The buyers that were gone crazy to get something during that, madness of like 20 to 23, there isn't that same urgency anymore. The buyers are much more specific about what they want, what they're willing to sacrifice, what they're willing to compromise on, what they really want, which is good from a salesperson perspective. I mean, it's kind of good to know when your clients have an idea of what they want, right? That's a good thing. But the urgency that was there is not there anymore, we're finding. And then the other big piece of my resort and second home market is that many agents haven't had these more serious conversations with their sellers.
I would love to expand on that for a minute.
Okay.
So the serious conversations with your sellers around days on market or presentation or lowering the price if they need to, like, what does that look like?
So, the conversation that I have, and I'm sure many of you have this as well, is that even well before the pandemic, choosing a strategic price when you enter the market that's on the hairy edge of low is the most successful position to have. Because what you're doing there is what your job, making the place look great, paying for really great photography, having the best platform in the industry for syndication, and getting the most eyeballs in there because your price isn't a little on the crazy high side. And that, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, I'm not trying to insult you by telling you that this is where I think your home should sit, but I think this would be a really good entry price. And developing that trust in sellers is not the easiest thing, but that's the most important thing. And being willing to be honest about what is happening in the market, the uncertainty people are feeling, all of those things, I think that goes a long way in building that trust. So what we're seeing is just reductions. And that's the story that I'm giving to new sellers. That's the stuff I'm bringing to my listing appointments. Here was the past month of new listings, and here was the past month of price reductions. And I just put that out on the table because we don't want to be in that situation, So those conversations I feel like are more and more difficult. And I feel many times in a resort and second home market, you have agents that also moved there, and so they're kind of like part-time agents now. They're older, they've had a nice career, they still, retired realtors and unicorns are on that same deserted island, right? So they're still not willing to retire, but they're not used to talking about having really tough conversations. And that kind of is tough for all of us. So I do see a shift, but I see, as you said, what an amazing opportunity to be a good agent, an honest agent, a connected agent, someone who knows about what the regulation changes have been, someone who knows, like in my market, the incredible impact of the Title V shifts. I mean, the things that most people don't really think about, but the more you can educate yourself and be that agent, I think it's an amazing opportunity right now for sure. So,
Yeah, I think education is key.
Perfect, thank you. I'm going to agree with what you said, Lisa, there with having good agents and understanding the market and helping them learn how to speak to their clients and explain these situations makes a huge difference in their mindset and being able to speak to buyers and sellers regardless of what the market is. As long as you have good agents that do work hard and do care and want to help their clients make the most money possible, that regardless what happens in the market, there are going to be people there for you to help.
Yeah, I love that. So we were talking a little bit about how buyers have the negotiating power right now. And with the higher inventory and the longer days on market, obviously, the sellers, they want to sell. And so they're willing to, look at lower offers more than ever. How are you getting the messages out there to these buyers that this actually is a great time to buy? What are you guys doing to get that message out there?
Well, today is always a better day to buy than last week. But definitely it's exciting because not only it's a buyer's market, so you are able to get maybe a larger house, a better option. Hopefully you're going to get a larger return on your investment because you bought it today.
I don't know if I've yet said it's a buyer's market. I don't know if I've felt that we've completely, come to that place for sure yet. But I now still lead with the way I used to sell, which is, hey, Barbara Corcoran says we can make an offer at 95% of list. And if Barbara Corcoran says it, then I think it's good enough for me. So I used to always kind of, start there. And then all the other pieces, like what other pieces of the total transaction might you be able to negotiate, some parts of. So we certainly work with all of those elements, with buyers. I mean, sellers, I think, is a little bit different, having that realigned conversation about days on market, about price reductions, about inspections, contingencies, that kind of thing.
I just think that with the buyers being a little hesitant, for them really having that message or knowing that there's more opportunity for them to get the house of their dreams. And you're right, there's less urgency. I'm just wondering if you guys are, emailing your database, you're putting it out on social media, like blasting out like, hey guys, this actually is a good time to buy. We don't know what the interest rate rates are doing, but it's been hinted at, and they have dropped a little bit. So I just was wondering if there's like messaging that you guys are giving to your sphere or to your database.
Yeah,
Scott.
I've been talking a lot. Of course, I have things to say about it here.
Yeah, I think it's super important. I know here with the team, we do a lot of market reports, right? So the thing about being a buyer right now is the values are holding, right? And I know we were speaking to sellers, and I couldn't agree more with Lisa. I've tested data, and nothing that we list sits more than 2 weeks at this point, right?
That's incredible.
And everything is over 100% of list price. And I think that's key, because if you do your research, you're able to talk to the seller about, hey, if we list here, it's only going to be on market for this many days, and you're going to get an offer in this many days, right? So DTO, your days to offer, your days on market, right? So you got to be able to go into a listing appointment knowing that information. But from a buyer perspective, send them market reports. Make them feel good about, okay, you're going to buy here. You might think it's high, but look what values are doing. They're not dropping, right? The properties are appraising, so they're holding their value.
I love that. Let's jump back to, we had NAR. It's been about a year now, right? And are you guys still hearing any objections to paying buyer agent commissions, or is that kind of, in the market that we're in, I think that we haven't noticed a lot of pain around that, because sellers are usually typically willing to, if you're going to bring me a buyer, I'm going to pay. So, but are you still having to have conversations and educating around that topic?
Yeah, and I'll pass the mic. I can hog it too, but I mean, I loved it, right? I think the key is, and I think someone alluded to it earlier, the real good agents will do really well, right? Because you will learn how to pitch your value, right? It's not a market where if you're a buyer's agent, you can go and just point out the fact that the kitchen looks nice and those floors are nice, right? So you got to really, really show your value. And, that shift has encouraged us to show our value, and we're actually making more money now than we were before the NAR settlement.
Woohoo! I've been hearing that, yeah.
Yeah, I'm just going to echo what Scott says. I think even before NAR settled, my kind of prediction was a total decoupling from listing side and buy side, and that's what came to be. The strong buyer's agents are able to articulate their value. That's what we've practiced and what we've role-played. To teach my buyer's agents to be able to articulate your value. If you can't articulate your value, then it can be a difficult conversation. And a lot of agents in the buyer's agent world, have never had to do that. They've never had to actually ask anybody to get paid, right? It just came because it was published, and they could just, work off that number. So really understanding that, if you educate well and articulate the value, I think we're finding as well. I think I've seen averages where the buyers in markets, agents' compensation has slightly increased. So I think we same experience as Scott.
Really quickly, when you're educating your buyer's agents or your agents, are you teaching them about how to have a buyer's consultation the same as a listing consultation?
100%, yeah.
Okay,
I mean,
because it used to be we'd just go meet them at the house and open the door for
Right.
them, right? So,
no, that's not anymore. You need
Go
to be
ahead
able
and
to articulate that. Let them, in other words, you have to make a presentation. And, so personally, I work with sellers, right? I have worked with 2 buyers in 7 years. So I have some experience with buyers, but it's really been all listings. But when I make a listing presentation and I, look the seller in the eye and I say, for everything I just showed you, everything we do from A to Z, all we charge is, X.5%. Not a penny more. And they're like, okay. All right. So the buyer presentation should be exactly the same. If a buyer can't an agent makes a presentation and say, for everything I just showed you, now here's the great news. My fee is this percent. We'll put that into the offer, and many times, if not most times, we'll get most of that or all of that. Occasionally, we might get a little less. Sometimes it might fall onto your side of the transaction. But I will be there, and I will not stand in the way of a deal. I'm a deal maker, not a deal breaker. So I will make sure you get this home. And they have the confidence in you, then you're not going to be any if you're getting objections on your fees, this is for listings and buyers, then come talk to me, because something in your presentation is not right. Because I've done hundreds of listing presentations, and I've cut my commission maybe once for half a point. If you're doing it right, you're not going to get, I've walked out on a couple because they wanted, were reasonable. But generally, if you're getting too many commission objections, look at your presentation and understand how your value is being articulated. So.
And I truly believe it's about the expectation and communication that you have with them. And I agree with you, buyer's agent nowadays get more compensated. There's a few transactions that I got paid 6%, some of them 7% on the buyer side. So the more value you bring, the more they appreciate you.
I hope you guys are looking at buyers out there. That's awesome. Yeah, move to Miami. Lisa, did you have anything to add?
I guess one thing I would say is that as I'm sure many of you have, I put together a whole packet. I had my my assistant do like an infographic about how buyer agents get paid. I mean, I have a whole bunch of stuff that I have ready for them, and I present that in my packet. I also email it to them. But one question, and we were talking about this morning, is the first thing that I ask the clients when we first start talking about it is they'll say, "What have you heard about this whole thing?" And so I can really gauge if they care, if they know about it, or if there's someone who's going to say, you know what, I think that this probably wouldn't happen in a consultation, but it has happened, where they feel like I'm just going to save the money and go direct, and I don't see any value. And then I would say, God bless you, go in peace. That was the one thing I was going to say different. When Michael said, if you're having a lot of objections, come see me. If it happens like with every single consultation, then yes, there's an issue. But sometimes there might be an occasional client that may not be a good fit for you. And please feel strong enough in your own value and worth. It's happened to me with someone in my extended family, which made a few events afterwards a little challenging, but I meditate, so that's good. So
you're saying let them go. Let them go.
And wish them well.
There. Yeah, I
Wish
love
them
that.
well.
I want to jump over into AI. You can talk. First of all, how are we feeling about AI? And then have you started to implement it in your business at a high level?
Yes, absolutely. So AI is super important. If you guys haven't started using it in your business, or basically ChatGPT, we use it in everyday emails, listings, just anything you can imagine. We have a third-party company that we actually use for a lot of our listing alerts and emails, and in our database, which is called YLOCO, that basically sits and nurtures all of our database, responding back and forth with the client, and then it alerts us, hey, you need to respond. This person's, asking about their home value, needs a listing appointment, et cetera, et cetera. So we've actually been using this since I started my team in 2021. So we have a full database that's constantly being nurtured.
I love that. So it turns into more transactions, and it gives you more time back
absolutely.
to do the face-to-face.
Agents think they're busy with things going on, and then all of a sudden they're like, it keeps their, ball rolling.
Awesome.
Yep.
Lisa, how are we feeling about AI, and how are you using it?
Yeah, I use it every day for all kinds of things. Well beyond real estate.
What's your favorite
I
tool?
do use ChatGPT, but I keep wanting to use Claude on Michael's recommendation, and my assistant uses Claude for sure. I just started to really build a lot of folders and files and projects in Chat, and I'm not someone who spends a lot of time on the process piece. So for me to kind of move all that over, but for me, I'm always thinking about different programs and projects and ideas, and to be able to, and I'm not a very linear thinker, and I can get distracted by shiny object syndrome. I'm sure the only one in the room that has that, but for me to be able to ask about developing programs based on some of the 5 million ideas I have every minute, and have it in a linear fashion give me stuff is just, it's just invaluable. I don't know what I would do without it. I don't know how I lived without it.
Well, it's like the internet, right? 1999, who would have ever known? I do want to ask you, any fear of AI, taking our role? What do you think?
No, not at all. And they're here to help us, I think. And so we do use, of course, every single day, and we have a bot that talk with the customers and nurture them. And the other day, I was telling my husband that 4:30 in the morning, the bot was responding with just like me, responding to a customer. So when I got up 7 o'clock in the morning, I already had that client said yes, the properties that they want to see, and schedule the time for me to show the
What
property.
tool is that? Which one?
That's the tech guy right there.
Which AI tool?
It's inside Go High Level.
Okay,
and
got
he
it.
built the vault there, so.
Love it. That's awesome. Michael, what are your thoughts?
How much time we got?
You got about 30 seconds
I'm
because I've
kidding,
got other questions.
Yeah, 30 seconds. So I've got an 8-week training on this. If anybody wants it in this room, let me know. It's just for free. Just hit me up after. I'll give you one example how we use it. So as you heard me speak earlier, I do have a lot of conversations, right? I'm setting 2 appointments a day, half-hour Zoom calls after that. I'm using an app called Granola, which I turned Lisa onto, and she loves
Granola.
it. Granola. It's on a Mac and a PC now. Records every transcript, not the voice, but the transcript. After that conversation, about a half-hour, 40 minutes with an agent, it's a needs analysis. That goes into Claude. Claude reads it. Claude knows how I like to write emails, what I want to cover, how I want to tie opportunity to their challenges, to what's going on. Writes a follow-up email. I take the transcript, goes back into Claude. Claude has a database of about 100 videos. A lot of them are Rob's from Brent Goves. It looks the transcript. It has a summary of every video. It picks the 6 to 7 best ones, sets up a 10-week follow-up sequence be like, hey, Rob, this is a video because you're a Caldwell banker, and this agent, Dylan Nanaka, my friend of mine in Hawaii, just bought a $40 million team. We're doing $400 million. I think you'd appreciate this video. It knows all the videos. It makes the follow-up sequence. So I'm using it to really connect with people on a deeper level, in a personal way. So it's not going to replace us, but it's absolutely going to enhance us.
I love that. Agent enhanced. All right, you want to get a new question? All right, I don't think you do, but I'm going to ask you this. Do you ever get like in a mindset slump, or like, just anybody ever here experience a slump? Yeah. So what do you do? What do you do to get yourself out of that slump? Do you say, I'm a beast? Or what do you do?
You know what? I really, tomorrow you'll get to hear my why and my story. I don't get in many slumps, only because I'm doing what I love, to be honest, right? I worked 2 jobs and all this other good stuff. You'll hear tomorrow, right? So when it comes to a slump, I really don't get in many slumps. And then when I do, I got 38 other people to help motivate me every day, right? So those slumps are really easy to get out of, because I know my goal and my reason and my why right now is not me doing well. It's helping them achieve their goals, right? So those slumps are really easy to get out of.
All right, what's the best piece of advice you've ever been given?
Best piece of advice I've ever been given? I guess it's, do it with passion, right? I guess it's do it with passion, because I think a lot of the times we almost feel like we have to do it, right? Because there's things to be paid. Yeah. But I have fun doing what I do, and I think a lot of people in this room, if it's your passion, you'll know it because you have fun doing it, right? So it's not a job. I don't look at it like a job.
All right, slump and best piece of advice.
Slump, I'd call it more, in my world, it's more probably of a burnout than a slump necessarily, as opposed to,
I like that.
on and down. I have a coach. I mean, best piece of advice is, if you're a lot of times when you're in the jar, you can't read the label. Okay, so I turn to other people. I have coaches that can point out things to me that I can't see because I'm inside the jar and the label's on the outside. So, John Dietz is one of my coaches, mentors. I speak to him multiple times a week, and I've created relationships and mentors in my life at EXP, other leaders who can see what I can't see, and it's real, collaboration and good coaching and mentorship.
All right, Denise, real quick.
Yeah, coach as well. I do have a coach that very easily she gets on me. I have other employees, other business, so I just can't.
No
be
time
there.
for that.
I don't
no
have
time for
that.
it. Okay, awesome.
Real estate is a follow-up game. Who follow-ups more wins.
Follow up. Follow up is the name of the deal. Yep.
So slump, I guess I would say doing something physical. I practice yoga. I practice hot yoga. And, the 60 or 90 minutes in a hot room can definitely shift everything for me.
I love it.
And best piece of advice, I think, 2 things real quick. One is the truth for me is that you always have a choice. And on the other side of that, too, is that, I think things are happening for me and not to me.
Love
so
it.
I try to shift that around all the time.
Thank you. We'll wrap it up with you. Got 10 seconds.
Okay, great. I was like, the one piece of advice, I guess, success is the best revenge, you know, for reasons I'll talk about tomorrow.
Yeah,
but-
I heard about that. That's
Yeah.
awesome. Yeah.
And yeah, just keep going.
Just
you
keep
know,
going. Just
keep
do it,
going.
just like
Yep.
Mikey says. Well, I want to thank you guys for being an amazing panel today. Lisa got something she wants to share real quick.
Yeah, actually, if you could bring up those slides that I asked you to, Rob. So I'm going to be talking a little bit about EXP Luxury tomorrow. We're doing a little bit of an explainer after the main sessions are done. But we have a really amazing promo right now, and I wanted to make sure we got it in today, just so you guys can take the QR code. So if you want to hear more about luxury, there's a luxury table in the back. I'm happy to connect. Reach out to me. Do you have the slides, Rob? So we're
We'll
gonna-
pull it
yeah.
up after the
We
break?
can pull it up after the break. I just want you guys to get the QR code now in case I didn't know who was going to stay for the after party tomorrow.
Make sure you get it.
Yeah, we'll put it up after the break, and I'll just come up real quickly.
A big round of applause for these amazing agents.